podcast. I am Dave Ford.
And I'm Ty Steele.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. This is the first time we've seen you since September the 1st. So we had a bit of a layoff.
Yeah.
I think we got some much needed rest.
Yes.
At least a little bit. How you been doing lately? Let's go ahead and talk about that.
I've been great. Coaching football, going to football games. I got to attend the Alabama State game last week, which was really interesting.
You said it was exciting with the bands, just the culture of everything.
Yeah, like I had been to, I go to a lot of college football games, and everybody usually go break halftime.
Right.
We don't break halftime. Yeah, that's when the show starts.
That's when the show really starts, right?
So Tuskegee, Alabama State, they showed out with their band. I had a wonderful time. I got to attend some more HBCU games. I have to admit, that was like my first HBCU football game. I usually go out and just stand out in the parking lot outside of the stadium and have a good time with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a football head now, so I was in there enjoying that game.
Was that like the movie Drumline?
Oh man, exactly like it.
Wow. So I like that thing.
Yeah.
That's a guilty pleasure movie for me. Every time it comes on, I watch that movie.
Exactly like it. I couldn't even explain like the fun we had. The football game was amazing though. Those kids was like, they was laying some wood out there. I mean,
Good.
I seen the quarterback get knocked out, get back in,
not good.
throw a touchdown pass. Like,
wow.
Nothing kept them out of that game.
So they don't get much TV coverage though, do they?
No, they don't get a lot of TV coverage. They usually, ESPN 2 or 3 will probably show like a HBCU classic or, because that was a classic football game, Alabama State classic. It was cool. So they show those type games, but they don't get a lot of TV time at all.
And I know we have people saying, what is HBCU, historically black college?
University,
Right.
Yeah. It was amazing, man. I'm definitely doing that again in the near future. So FAMU, I'll be coming to you.
Oh,
shortly. Yeah. My daughter is going to be dancing like in a parade for homecoming. So
cool.
Shout out to Xylo. Xylo is doing big things in the community, so they're going to be doing like a little competition that the girls get to dance and march. It's going to be very interesting. So I got me a FAMU t-shirt. It's going to be great, man.
Got your Miami colors on, bro. What's up?
No.
Well, you know what? Things that, I do want to say how grateful I am for how this show is going. We're growing slowly, and that's just part of the growing pains. And the interest is growing though. We put up the fans of the J.O.B. podcast page on Facebook,
yes.
which is getting actually more interest than our previous one did.
Yes.
And it's interactive. You and I are able to do a lot more marketing on there. And I really like where we're going. So thank you everybody for your support and continued support. Word of mouth is still the best way to do it.
Exactly.
So if you know somebody is into podcasts, which it's crazy even now, you say podcast, some people go, what's that?
Yeah.
It's still a young thing. It's a young technology where it's just a transfer of radio going into mainstream. It's the best of both worlds. You can watch us and listen to us anywhere you want to, anytime, and we're getting new fans every single day. We got our former students are watching us.
Yeah.
We have coaches watching us. We have parents, and our audience is diverse, which is exactly what we want.
Definitely a diverse audience.
Yes.
Definitely a diverse audience.
So our title of the show today, boys and girls, is accountability in sports.
Mm-hmm.
And this also goes for the military as well. Sports and the military, not so much in that order, but are two organizations that are so big, but they teach us so much life skills at an early age. Obviously, you and I have been coaching for so long. We were athletes first. I can tell you from my point of view, I was learning life lessons on the fly as a 7-year-old when I first got into sports. I didn't really know it yet, but as I got older, I started realizing time management, being organized, being accountable for my teammates, on and on and on.
Definitely.
And our tie-in with today, guys, if you're wondering, is not so much about youth sports and all that. It's about who are these kids watching now, and we've got some big names that we are going to talk about today. Antonio Brown and Cam Newton are the first ones that we're gonna. I guess we're gonna go in on them today. That's what we're gonna do. It's just call it what it is.
Yes.
You know, you obviously Steelers fan.
Huge Steelers fan.
You know, and
Huge.
so you have watched the drama unfold with Antonio Brown over the last 9 years.
Yes.
He's a fascinating character. Yeah, just talk about him for a minute.
He's definitely an interesting character. He's just one of those guys that everybody knew and everybody around the league said, once you pay this guy, you're going to find out who the real Antonio Brown is. So he came in humble. I think he was drafted in like the 5th round.
Yes, he was.
Barely heard of, barely on the radar. One of our main receivers goes down, and Antonio Brown's next man up.
Right.
And then, listen, I cannot deny his football skills. His football skills are hands.
He's off the charts.
He is ridiculous. He's one of the best wide receivers in the whole league. But as soon as he started to get his money, the antics started to coming out. The going Facebook Live when your coach is giving a heartfelt speech about how they're going to crush the team, and he's going Facebook Live, and he's doing what his sponsors want him to do. Right. And so it just became more and more about the money. And I'm all for it. Get paid. Football doesn't pay as much as baseball.
Right. Or basketball.
Or basketball. So I'm all for getting paid, but still respect and love the game. And once he got paid, he didn't love or respect the game anymore. It became about Antonio Brown.
Well, there's an aspect about him, dude, that, and I haven't even had a chance to talk to you about this yet, but I actually emailed a columnist at the Las Vegas Review, because he was the only other guy outside of me that actually brought up the fact that maybe Antonio Brown is suffering from early signs of CTE.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I don't feel sorry for him, but I think there's something that we all as fans, if we really want football to last, if we really care about the game like we say we do, I think we do need to take a look at that. Now, you and I can't go prove it, but I think that it's good for us to at least talk about, because let's look at his behavior. Look how it has gone from just weird to annoying, and now it's erratic.
Yeah.
It's abnormal. If you and I had a friend that was acting the way he is, we would have already said, look, man, do you need some help?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, because there wasn't a week, there wasn't a day that went by in the 4 weeks from August through September when Hard Knocks was on HBO.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? There wasn't a day, not 24 hours that went by where Antonio Brown wasn't in the news. That's not normal.
Exactly. I mean, I would want to probably say something mentally is wrong with Antonio Brown, but I want to take it a step deeper.
Okay.
I have been coaching a lot of athletes lately, and I'm starting to see some of those same characteristics in younger kids.
Oh.
I can't blame theirs on CTE yet,
Right.
but the thing is, we allow a behavior as coaches. So I got to the point last night, I was just thinking and talking amongst my colleagues, I was like, you know, I'm about ready to go back to Little League football, and we need to start correcting that behavior now.
Yeah.
Kids get an attitude, want to slam their helmet down, or pull away, won't shake the other team's hand. All of those lead up to the way a lot of these guys are acting right now. I mean, they do not respect the football game, do not respect adults. And it's starting from Little League on up to now when they're grown men. And it's like, if you ever want to see how a man is, pay him. See how he really acts.
True.
And I think he has shown a characteristic of who he really is. He's really not a good person. I think he's brilliant because New England wanted him from the get-go. They wanted him. They was like, hey, Steelers, we'll give you a first-round pick. Steelers said, not interested. We're not going to trade him to somebody that we play because we know how good he is. So Antonio probably said, hey, you know what? Let me go to Oakland and act like an idiot to the point where they have to trade me. John Gruden went back on who he is as a coach. I was beyond disappointed because he allowed him to act like that. And then he kept saying, well, I love Antonio. This helmet thing is an issue. Like, it frustrates the crap out of me.
Right.
So I keep telling these guys right now, if you are coaching young men, and if they are acting like idiots right now, get their behind off the field. Get them off the field. Why send them to a college to be that college coach's problem?
Mm-hmm.
They got enough problems as it is. These kids won't start realizing or start being humble till stuff starts being snatched away from them. And it breaks my heart to do so, but at the end of the day, me and you, coach, my ultimate goal is to make athletes be great members of society.
Right.
I don't want to put buttholes out in the world and be like, hey, Coach Ty, that was my coach, so on, and it frustrates me. I went just this week, and I just broke down in tears. I met one of my football players I coached when he was like 5 on up to 12. And I said, man, where's your brother at? And he was like, hey, coach, he was in prison. And I was like, what? It broke my heart. Came from a great family, great upbringing. They had everything they wanted. And he just took a different path.
Right.
And I was like, where did I go wrong as a coach? And what I can clearly see is there's a letdown from when I coach them at Little League football until when they get to middle school.
Mm-hmm. When
When they get to middle school, they can either go here, they can go right, they can go left, they can go down the middle and choose their own path. And they don't get to see a coach time no more. You got your football coach is probably your English teacher. Let's just be real. And you don't have that authority figure that's over you. You have a guy that's just dealing with you for a little bit, and they don't know you, so they allow you to act how you want to act.
Yes.
And I think this is what the Antonio Brown situation stems from. That's me personally.
You bring up a really, really good point, and tell me if you've gone through this before too, where you feel almost an inherent guilt if you can't move along with that kid.
It bothers me.
Okay. So I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Because I've gone through that, and you and I both have, as much as we have these blessings, they are also faults at the same time, where we try so hard for everybody around us.
Oh, yeah.
We want them to like us. We want them to respect us. We want to go the extra mile to make sure they're happy and taken care of. On the other side of that is, like you just said, we stay where we are and the kids move on.
Yeah.
And they've adapted to the way we coach.
Yeah.
They perform and behave at an optimal level, but then when they leave us, now they're in a playground of uncertainty.
Yes.
To get metaphorical there.
Yeah.
Which is to their detriment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where the accountability comes in. This is where it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it the kid's responsibility? And that's the part we can't teach them.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel there's a disconnect. That's where there's not enough coaches out there
Mm-hmm.
who are doing what we do. And it's an epidemic because parents are actually relying on coaches and teachers to do the parenting now.
Exactly.
Let's just call it like we see it.
Exactly.
Which puts even more stress on guys like me and you.
More pressure.
We're doing all of it, dude. We are doing the parenting, the teaching, the coaching. We're being as consistent as we can, trying to put out good kids in the world.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, in real time, I've told you, I've got struggles going on
Mm-hmm.
with one of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not seeing eye to eye.
Mhm.
So I don't want to put the narrative out there that, oh, we got our stuff together.
Oh yeah.
Not the truth.
Definitely.
Not the truth. Not at all.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
It's just it's a huge disconnect. I think there's a reason why. I want to say it might be Pensacola. Pensacola, Florida doesn't have like middle school football.
No, they don't.
Everything is ran by Little League, and then when you get to high school, you go into it.
Mhm.
But let me go back here. Now this is really just grinds my gears here. Those high school coaches don't feel like the middle school coaches know. I mean, Little League coaches know anything.
Right.
They treat them like they're stupid, and then there is a disconnect and a breakdown from these guys to that guy, and that has got to change. I mean, we all got to, like, okay, you got a great high school football player. He had a great middle school coach, Little League coach that taught him the game of football,
Right.
taught him how to do it the right way. But a lot of these coaches feel vulnerable to those players because, like, oh, he's a great player. I don't want to make him mad and get him off the team. So I'm not really going to I'm not going to be as hard on him.
Exactly.
And I want to say, God, you are doing those kids a disservice
Yes.
by not getting in their behind. Because when I go to any kid that I've coached before, I am going to dig in their behind, and they're going to love me even more for it, because I'm not here to tell them anything wrong. But a lot of these guys, it's just a paycheck for them.
Right.
For guys like me and you, this is a lifestyle. I mean, I hate to sound so passionate about it, but I'm passionate
No, it's the truth.
because I'm sick and tired of seeing millionaire idiots play football, play sports. I'm tired of it. It's like you got to love the game of football, man. You worked your butt off for however long to get to where you're at now, just to get there and then act like a complete idiot, and then you don't take responsibility of who you are. So now you have a bunch of kids who are watching you and they say, you know what? That's how I get to where I want to go. By dogging people out, by doing stuff the wrong way and doing all these other things, and that's not it. So now we've created a bunch of millionaire buttholes who want to run around and do what they want to do. And it's driving me crazy to the point, like, certain games I don't even watch. I'm like, man, I don't want to see that.
There is a trend that's been building for a long time, and it's not just in this generation. It's probably somewhere in that millennial generation. And I'm not picking on millennials right now, but something happened between our generation and the one after. Something. I don't know what it is, and that in itself is extraordinary. And where did we, and I say we as a society, where did we go wrong? Is it the whole YMCA mentality of giving a kid a medal who is the least talented, but gets the benefits of the most talented?
Oh yeah.
But then on the verse side of that is the most talented is not trying to help the least talented to make them as good as he is and she is.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like it's kind of like a math problem. Step-by-step process, and if you lose one of those steps, then you will not get your solution.
Oh yeah.
It's like I told you, I think I told you, maybe I didn't. I was talking to my son Davis, it was 2 weeks ago, and I said, dude, try starting to look at life as a math problem, and it's simple 3 steps. The first step is understanding what I need to do as a routine every single day. And this is going to bed and this is getting up. Now, when I get to school, it is acting with respect to my teachers and my peers and making sure my grades are where they're supposed to be. And then your solution after the equal sign is success. So you have your 3 steps. I said, try really making things very vanilla, breaking them down, making them easy. And I almost feel like these kids need so much help in the way of they have so much noise in their life. And we've talked about this before. The distractions are enormous that they have. The kind of I imagine what the noise in their brains is like that snow that used to come on the TV screen at night.
Yeah.
It used to go.
Yeah.
Kind of like a white noise where they're constantly plugged in digitally with their fingers, okay? And so it doesn't stop for them. So they don't know what a quiet moment is. They actually don't like quiet.
Yeah.
They get freaked out by quiet.
Oh yeah.
And so there is a step-by-step process that we aren't finding, and how do we identify it? It's a big, big problem. And there comes out of the dysfunctional egg in Antonio Brown that somebody didn't identify earlier. And it's crazy because he came from Central Michigan, which is a small program.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a very small program. He was a little dude. If you go back and look at his university pictures, he was a spaghetti arm kid who was fast and he had raw talent.
Yeah.
He came into the league humble. What happened? Now you brought up money. Okay, well money is a big issue for everybody.
Oh yeah.
And you said you want to find out who he is.
Pay him.
Very, very true. But what else is going on in there that we're losing these young men? And I'm mainly saying young men because I think in women's sports they are a lot more behaved. They are a lot more self-accountable.
Yeah.
If you want to look at how athletes should act, you should look at women's athletics.
Women are always
Whatever they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they're more mature because they're always 3 years ahead of us guys anyway.
Exactly. I mean, but you go back to how Antonio Brown was raised. He was raised by a single mom, him and his brother. Mom got married when he was around 16. Him and stepdad butted heads. They put Antonio Brown out. He stayed with family members and friends.
So he associates right there.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, That's why the father is so important in the kids' life.
Amen.
You learn to respect authority at an early age. But if you just have a single mom raising you, there's no male around, you don't learn to respect it. And his dad played football. His dad left him to go play football. So in his mind, this is how a man is supposed to be, and he found his own way, and I applaud him all day.
Right.
But if I'm going to have people around me, they're not going to be yes men and yes women. They're going to tell me, hey, this is wrong. I need people around me that's going to hold me accountable, and there's no accountability for Antonio Brown right now.
How do you think that's going to work out with the Patriots?
The Patriots have a unique way of handling problems. And I think just about every player that has came to them just about has changed. What's the guy they got, the receiver they got last year that has like drug problems?
No.
I forget his name, had a brain fart. But
yeah,
he's probably the only one I've seen that reverted back and got into trouble. But usually when they go to the Patriots, they change.
Josh Gordon, I'm sorry.
Josh Gordon.
He's back on the team and he's doing very well.
Yeah, but Tom Brady reached out to him, put his arms around him, took him out to dinner, talked to him, and you need somebody to guide you. These guys are young. Tom Brady's been a while. Tom Brady's my age. So he's speaking to him and talking to him and encouraging him to do the right thing because the kid came in the league legendary. Antonio Brown can wear a Hall of Fame jacket one day. But the thing is, when the league gets tired of you, you're Terrell Owens trying to find a team.
He's dangerously close. And I do know that the news came out that after the Patriots grabbed him up, there were about 2 other teams that were trying to get him.
Yeah.
But you think about that, you're like, okay, as a fan, I go, I'm glad he went to the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I only say that because, like you said, if there's any team that can get him on the right track, they're the only team. They are the best run franchise in all of sports.
And Bill Belichick has no problem with cutting you. It didn't work out this week, see you.
Exactly.
Bye.
And you know, and for a lot of, they give him a lot of flack because he doesn't talk that much and he's very, very boring, but he's brilliant. He's a brilliant football mind, and he has no time for anybody to make themselves bigger than the team. And I love him for that.
Oh yeah. I mean, Tom Brady doesn't get bigger than the team.
He sacrifices money.
Yeah.
He takes less. If there's a quarterback out there that should be making a buttload of money, it's Tom Brady.
All day.
But he just gives it away to everybody else to try to make him happy because you know what? He likes wearing those rings.
Yeah.
He gets it. He knows what it's about.
And he realizes he's going to go down in history as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Probably the greatest football player of all time.
Period, point blank, hands down. You want Tom Brady on your team.
Well,
even now.
And again, you talk about accountability. Let's talk about the flip side, the positive side. You just gave a lot of great examples of what a quarterback is supposed to be like. It's not just a captain wearing the C on your chest. It's, look, we're bringing in a guy who's got severe behavioral problems.
Mm-hmm.
He could be actually someone who has narcissistic disorder.
Yep.
He could have bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm. He
could have early stages of CTE. We don't know anything about Antonio Brown's brain.
Yeah.
We do know he's taken 1 million shots, going across the middle. He's a little dude.
Oh yeah, real little.
Vontez Burfict
laid him out.
Took your boy out a few years ago, about killed him,
Yep.
and started a big riot. So that one hit alone can set you back permanently.
Yeah, and then Juju Smith-Schuster got Vontae Burfict back.
He did.
But, I mean, woo.
Yeah.
That leg was nasty.
He
He stood over him like, this was my boy.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Antonio Brown get a chance to even realize, Juju, they voted him the MVP of the team over me.
Yeah.
He's got more yards and catches than me this year. He didn't have more attempts on that. But I mean, Antonio Brown got jealous and started dissing Juju. Like, how do you say this is my brother, this is my friend, this is the guy I'm teaching, then all of a sudden you just backstab him in the back. Told you that I don't have it for him. I wanted him gone a long time ago.
Oh, I know.
I looked at Mike Tomlin and I was like, man, here's a great coach. He's for the players all day long. And Antonio Brown forced him a lot of times, like, man, I gotta go back on what I say. But how hard is it to be a coach in the NFL if I'm making $1 million a year and we're paying this guy right here $30?
I wouldn't want it.
I wouldn't want it at all.
wouldn't want it.
Are they really gonna listen to me? How can I be a disciplinarian?
Well, it forces you to change who you are.
Yeah.
The very reason you got that job because you're a great coach, now you're being told, I have to change in order to keep my players.
Oh yeah.
Because the game is about the players. Now we saw this happen with the NBA 2 decades ago, when the money started getting bigger and the guaranteed contracts. It got out of hand, and now we see an NBA that, while it is exciting to watch at times, it is run by the players.
Right.
Make no mistake about it.
Definitely.
Especially, you got a guy like LeBron, every time he opens his mouth, he thinks he's an advocate for the rest of the players. I don't know who elected him to be that guy,
Yeah.
but that's who he thinks he is. He thinks he is of the people and for the people and by the people. He's the constitution of the NBA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now, all the NBA players agree. He wasn't last year, but he's mainly the best player in the NBA. They looked at LeBron as the standard, and I think he kind of like, okay, let me take on this role. I don't think he probably wanted it, but he realized what his power was. Michael Jordan never said anything. Michael Jordan did his stuff quietly, and
And there's a great strategy behind that.
You see what I'm saying? But you look at Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook game like stinks now to me. I mean, when I listen, still explosive.
Yeah, he is.
But
He's
he can't,
dangerous.
But he can't throw a ball in the ocean standing on the beach.
And he can't lead.
If he's doing layups, yes, all day. So what does he say? You know what? I'm gonna promote myself. I'm gonna have my own wacky dress, and I think it distracts us from their play. So all the kids say, "Oh, I want to be like Westbrook. He's cool. He's hip. He's like he's this. He's that." Same thing with Cam Newton. I mean.
Good segue.
Oh my gosh! Like Cam walks around with a bonnet on his head.
He's not the only example. And somebody actually tweeted last night, is he trying to be Dennis Rodman?
He is definitely trying to be Dennis Rodman of the NFL.
Right under that, the dude said, yeah, at least Rodman could play.
Exactly.
I just watched the documentary. Did you see the documentary about him on 30 for 30?
That was good.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Rasheem Woodfall, you need to cut it out. He said he should have came to the Ravens. Yeah, y'all take him at the Ravens. Anybody else can have Antonio Brown.
Antonio? Oh.
Yeah, I don't want Antonio Brown. I'm glad he's gone from my Steelers, even though we look like pure trash on Sunday night.
This is the crazy thing about Antonio Brown and being the kind of personality that he is what makes sports ultimately must-see TV. And
Exactly.
This is what I mean by that. Okay, so remember, another troubled receiver went to the Patriots before called Randy Moss.
Oh yeah.
Okay, arguably, I can make an argument that he was the most talented receiver ever. Okay, he goes there, has the best season of his life. Tom Brady has the best season of his life.
Mm-hmm.
They're just putting up numbers, they're killing people all year long, except for the Giants who played them tough.
Yeah.
Get to the Super Bowl, they're 18-0, and they couldn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a fan of football, I'm curious. I've always wanted a team to overtake the undefeated Dolphins.
True.
I do. I'm tired of seeing the old man do the champagne glasses. Oh, undefeated again. Because, again, I want to be I wrote a column about this once. I want to be the guy that walk in the room and go, you know what? Y'all played a really, really terrible schedule in 1972 to get that record. You played the Buffalo Bills, the Bengals, these horrible teams, and you want to call yourself the best team ever? No.
Yeah.
No. Just because you got a 0 in your loss is nothing. But anyway, that's just another diatribe.
They only played, 12 games?
They played 14 back then.
Yeah, that was easy work.
It was easy work.
That was easy work.
But, that's something for another time. We can talk about best teams. But I am curious to see, can A.B. get his act together? Is it worth it to him to say, you know what, I need to take it back? Maybe, and I'm hoping because we all need a wake-up call once in a while. We all need to go back to square one, the fundamentals. Yeah. You and I say that word as coaches so many times ad nauseum, fundamentals. Well, maybe this is that time for him. And I'm not an advocate for A.B., but I am an advocate for young kids seeing a good example on TV.
Okay.
So who's better than him to undo all the grossness but him and make it right again?
Yeah, well, the only problem is no matter what he does from here on out, they're always going to remember this time.
You're right.
He can turn and be A.B. the priest. They're going to remember when he was a prick. And I really wish he would understand that, you just are going to be a reflection of who you are. And it took T.O. a while to get in the Hall of Fame.
Yes,
like nobody's numbers were as close to Jerry Rice as Terrell Owens.
You're right.
He done some amazing things, but because of his character, they were keeping him out of it. They was like, no, we don't want to put a guy in that acts this way. We want to put guys in that do this and that do that. But you think about it. you have to have some type of chip on your shoulder to play in the NFL.
You do.
You got to be, to play receiver, you got to be crazy.
You gotta be brave.
You're
Yeah.
running across the middle, you got to do all those different things. You got to have a different type chip on your shoulder. But you know what? The thing that bothers me, and I think I told you this, me as a black man,
Mhm.
a lot of folks, what they see is they say, well, he acts like that, so I expect all black athletes to act just like that. He doesn't understand that he represents the bigger picture.
Right.
And if he could influence, and he has major influence over young lives,
Mhm.
they see him acting like that. Friday night at a high school football game,
Yeah.
you're going to see that same attitude because they're trying to be Antonio Brown.
I think there's a lot of validity to what you're saying, and I can understand you'd be very concerned, and you have every right to be. But again, I think what makes him different is the fact that he's almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
He almost is somebody that we've never seen before. He is a hybrid of Terrell Owens. He's a hybrid of Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, okay, who's another guy who went to the Patriots thinking he's going to clean up his act, and they cut him because he didn't learn the offense.
He couldn't learn it.
He thought he could go over there and freestyle and do the thing he had done in Cincinnati when he was the top guy, and it just didn't work. But this is the thing, at the end of the day, we're all suckers for a redemption story. Like, Antonio Brown's life is perfect for a football life on NFL Network. Like, it's ready-made to be packaged if he's able to put this thing together in the end. And we're about to find out tomorrow when he goes against the Dolphins. If he gets to that point, which happens to be the same place that he's from, which happens to be the same place where this alleged victim has filed her civil lawsuit against him.
Exactly.
For me, the jury's out on that. Something's not meshing. Something's not meshing with me. If I had to say right now, it seems to me that she felt like she was done wrong in a relationship kind of way, and she's trying to go after the money. I'm not taking sides. I'm just saying I gather all the facts.
I mean, but the part about her watching a church video and him doing something on her back,
that doesn't mesh with me.
And he admitted it in text message and email. I'm like, you are an idiot. Like, dude, that is so childish and stupid. And then you take a girl that was your friend in college. Y'all used to do Bible study together. And okay, let me help you out. You're a trainer now. I don't know what the gist of their relationship was. I'll never know that.
It was a friend with benefits. That's what it was.
And so now you have this thing over your head, but you go back to his cases where, okay, domestic violence, where he abused women, where he abuses his fiance or girlfriend, wife, whatever she is now. You go back to those things and you say, okay, there's a problem there. And if you don't respect people right now, you don't respect authority right now, I just don't see you respecting the woman you're with. And you never talk about your mom. You never even really show your mom around your mom. There are certain questions and issues that's right there.
I don't think he respects himself, dude. I think if you really want to psychoanalyze people, which I love doing, I enjoy it. You love psychology too.
All day.
How are you supposed to respect people around you if you can't look in the mirror and say, I respect myself? So if I had to guess, I don't think he really likes himself. I think that he doesn't know who A.B. is without football. He believes he is this character that we would see on HBO's Ballers, because I swear the character that they have for the receiver is modeled after him. I swear he is.
Without a doubt.
He's got it.
Without a doubt.
Because they're paralleling each other. But the guy in the show is more likable, you know? But getting back to Cam Newton.
Mr. Bonnet.
Cam Newton, is a very, very interesting character, because if you go back, he exploded on the scene as one of the most freakish athletes we had ever seen. But he's never ever had a likable personality. He's smug. He is privileged. He has this way about him that says, not only am I physically bigger than all of you, but I am looking down upon you from the mountain which I survey. And you look at his body language. I've been talking about this guy for years. Look at his body language. Things aren't going right, wraps the towel around his head, and he's over on the sideline. He's not talking to his receivers. He's not talking to his O-line, saying, hey, And again, I hate to keep saying Tom Brady, but the guy does it the right way.
Exactly.
He's won 6 rings, and what does he still do? Series after series. Hey, got next one. Boom, he's banging pads, banging helmets. He's getting his bare head. Boom, banging helmets.
Yeah.
We got this. He's positive, but he also has the respect.
Oh yeah.
And so the other night, when you had the rain delay, it's lightning and everything, Cam's out there with, I don't know what's happening on his head. Some sort of like Groot tree is growing out of his head. He's over there pointing directions at people to grab his stuff for him as he's going back to the locker room.
Yeah.
And then they come back out and he lays an egg. He's not the same guy. He's had shoulder surgery. He's had an ankle, and he's not the same.
No.
He's damaged goods now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when you're losing your gifts, who are you in here and up here?
Mm-hmm.
You're not a leader of men.
Mm-hmm.
If you survey your locker room, those guys would be lying if they said they looked up to you anymore and respected you.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
he's a really interesting case study, but it's the selfishness. It's all about me. I want to wear the dumbest thing I possibly can and call it stylish, looking like Medea. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing? And you said the demasculization, which I thought was a great point. Talk about that for a minute.
I mean, like he is like demasculized. He's just like, I don't even know if it's a word, but he
Emasculated.
He was demasculated. Like the athlete as a male, like you. I see so many young men right now that dress like, and I listen. I'm far from homosexual. That does not bother me at all. But I see so many young men right now that claim to be straight, just dress like women.
Right.
The pants are super tight. This guy comes out with a scarf wrapped around his head. How many kids are we going to see this week with a scarf around their head?
I hope
and
none.
I mean, listen, I hate for my daughters right now. I'm like, dang, like, is this the guy that's going to protect you? Or is he going to be wearing your scarf around his head and like, you go get him, baby. You got it. Go do it. Go work. You go do those things. I hate to see men not acting like men. And right now, he's not manning up at all. He can barely throw the ball. And I know they say they want to make him a pocket passer, but I think more or less he can't do it. He had 0 rushing yards. Why is Superman not being Superman right now? His biggest kryptonite is himself, and he can't get out of the way of himself. I heard an interesting thing this morning where shout out to the Baltimore Ravens, their quarterback. I forgot his name all of a sudden. Lamar Jackson. They said Lamar Jackson has developed more in 1 year than Cam has in 8.
True.
And I mean that is
They're not wrong
to say. And Lamar is actually trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, he
had 5 touchdown passes last game. Who did they play? Miami? Somebody.
It was Miami.
They're still scoring on Miami right now. Every time they threw the ball, it was a touchdown. But I'm telling you right now, like, I don't believe Cam wants it anymore. I don't believe. I think he took too much abuse, and that's why I said I can respect. I'm forgetting everybody's name.
Who? Lamar? No. Who?
Indianapolis Colts.
Oh.
Andrew Luck. I
Okay.
can respect him for saying, you know what, I don't have it. I gotta go. I gotta retire.
Oh, totally.
I'm retired. If Cam just says I'm gonna retire, I don't have it now. Look, you made a bunch of money off of Auburn anyway. That's another story.
Mississippi State before that.
I'm just saying, he was with the Florida Gators. You had a great leader with Tim Tebow of how a quarterback is supposed to act. You go in, you buy a stolen laptop, then you get kicked out of there, then you go to another school, you win a national title with them. I think that was like a AA. Then you go, it's a bidding war for you. Auburn, Mississippi State, whoever is the highest bidder gets Cam Newton, and Cam Newton has never got over himself from that. Cam already said, I'm a star.
Yeah, he did.
But his MVP year, I'll give it to him. He balled out of control. But then he went to the Super Bowl and lost, dropped the egg and pouted like a baby.
Am I wrong in saying that the year he got the MVP, the NFL was down that year?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
Yeah, they were down.
Because he didn't do anything otherworldly that year other than he rushed for a ton of yards. But he's never been a pocket passer.
No, never been. Last year, before he got hurt, was his best statistical year for passing the football. He was great. He was brilliant. Then all of a sudden he got hurt, and they wouldn't say he was hurt. He couldn't throw the ball 20 yards.
Right.
It was me back there running their offense.
He wasn't hitting basically 12 to 15 ounce.
He wasn't hitting anything. His shoulder was jacked up. this ankle injury that they said he had before the season. I think they're lying about that because Cam just does not run, does not take off.
He can't cut.
Listen, when Jameis Winston looks better than you as a quarterback, you are sad.
You're having a bad night.
Yeah, because Jameis Winston is like the best defensive player I've ever seen for in my life. The greatest. He's thrown more touchdown passes on defense than he has on offense.
You're not hurting my feelings, dude. You're not. I posted on Facebook last week. I'm just get him out. Get him out.
I'm just saying, man. It's unreal. It's just
he didn't win the other night. Our defense won. We got a heck of a defense.
Yeah.
We're doing really well.
Yeah.
While you were talking about the Ravens Miami game, that was the other part of what we hyped this week on our fans page about that the Dolphins got beat so badly. I think it was 6 guys on the team went to their agents and their representation right after the game and said, "Get me out of here."
Yeah.
That's unprecedented.
Oh yeah.
We've never heard that before. And if it has happened, it didn't get publicized. Mm-hmm. But that blew me away, dude, to think, man, I've been on some bad teams before.
Yeah.
I would have never thought to just quit.
Yeah.
And to go to somebody else. My instinct is, I'm going to go home and I'm going to get better. Mm-hmm. I'm going to galvanize my guys and say it was one game. Mm-hmm. So what if we're called the worst team in the league? We got nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's go out there and play some ball. And if we win along the way, great.
Yeah.
But why are you trying to leave my team when I already have nobody?
Yeah.
The ghost of Dan Marino is alive and well in Miami. They've been trying to replace him, dude, since 1999.
It's like the Gators were trying to replace Tim Tebow. You just can't replace that type of athlete.
Once in a generation.
Yeah.
Once in a generation. And Tim Tebow again, like the news yesterday about the California bill.
He's trending right now.
I actually really, really applaud what he said. Mm-hmm. He's getting killed on Twitter.
Oh yeah, killing him right now.
He is getting killed on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because of how dare someone speak up and say that you shouldn't pay the football players. Yeah. Now, I could make an argument for both ways, and I have before. I've done it on radio. I've done it in columns saying, look, in Division I football, they are in a very unique situation where there are billions of dollars being exchanged from TV company to TV company.
Exactly.
Who is getting that money? I can tell you who's not. It's the players.
Oh, yeah.
So, but then you have your old school people who are saying they get paid, it's called a scholarship. No. There's no money going in their hands saying, hey, if you need a hot dog or a sandwich, you want to take your girlfriend out. They don't have any money because they can't get a job.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean, I got a huge argument about this.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fine.
I got a huge one.
Before you start,
Before
you start, I want to say this, is that I actually said this to Danielle last night because she called me out. She's like, well, how can you agree with Tim when you're the one that made an argument for players getting paid? I said, you know what? Both sides are right. That's the problem. There's nobody wrong here, which makes it even worse, is that you're always going to have people on the left side and the right side saying, keep college amateur. No, we need to pay the guys who are sacrificing themselves on the field. You're both right.
Exactly.
But you can't have both. Go ahead, what are you going to say?
All right, my huge argument is, I'm going to take an amazing turn in this. This will probably weird you out a little bit. But I was watching the HBCU game. I was like, man, why don't a lot of our black athletes go to HBCUs?
Why do they?
Why do they not?
Why do they not? Okay.
And I mean, like going to a Division I school is so attractive. You would definitely pick Florida over FAMU or Grambling or anything like that because you're on the national stage, you're on the national TV. But what if the black athletes say, you know what? We're going to start going to Division I colleges. I mean, not Division I. We're going to start going to HBCU colleges,
right,
and just change the whole structure of everything. It will be amazing. I'm telling you, I'm watching some amazing football games. But the thing is, the NFL scouts are not going to come to a FAMU or a Grambling game.
They won't.
They're going to come to a Florida State. But if everybody starts saying, you know what, let's change the narrative on that. And let's start going here. But there was this one athlete who was highly recruited by, it was one of the HBCUs, I forget the exact name. Well, in the last minute, he changed his mind and went to Oregon. And his thing that he tweeted, why would I want to eat fried chicken when I could eat filet mignon? Ooh. And the thing is, everything he wants when he goes to that school is basically there. Like he was, you know, they're getting $100 handshakes. They're getting all types of stuff. They don't get paid, but they get a lot of perks for going to these different schools.
They do.
So it's more attractive to go here. And so a lot of our athletes will look down on an HBCU, not really know their history about HBCUs, and be like, well, I'm just gonna sit out. And they'll rather go to a prep college. I had a kid argue with me. I was like, you got a scholarship to go. He was like, well, I'm gonna go to this prep college and play because I don't have a football scholarship here. And I'm like, okay, prep colleges cost $18,000 a year to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Florida State only costs $16,000.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, what? I was like, yeah. It is a money thing.
Yes.
If you want to play football, I got a semi-pro football team. You can play on that and go to school for a lot less money. But a lot of our kids, their mind has been tricked to think. Kids don't even go to schools, different schools, because their school isn't sponsored by Nike. You only wear Nike. The school is sponsored by Reebok. It is one big money-making scheme. So I'm for one. I'm like, all right, let's pay the kids, but let's do it like this. You get your degree, at the end you get a paycheck.
Wow.
You get your degree, at the end, the money we've accumulated at the 4 years you were here, 5 years you was here, then you'll get a paycheck.
Well, what do you tell the women's soccer team about that, though, when they come up saying, what about us?
I mean, you pay all of them. Football pays for
Well,
all
football's the
sports.
only sport that makes any money.
It pays for all the sports all year round. A lot of the high school basketball games are free. Unless you're Duke basketball, you got $400 tickets. $900 tickets to go to a Duke game.
I can tell you, again, being around Pat Summitt and Lady Ball Tennessee basketball, a lot of people thought they made money and they didn't.
Oh yeah.
So
a lot of those basketball games are free to get into,
well,
especially girls basketball.
That's what I'm saying. That's the biggest hang up I have with paying players is that when you've got a Jennifer over here who is a gamer and has been building herself as an athlete and is marketable, but nobody knows who she is. And then you got whatever you want to call him, little Jimmy over here is blowing up all over ESPN too. He's on 6 times during the year.
Oh, yeah.
All primetime games, so he's all over. So inherently, he's the one that quote unquote deserves to get paid because the commercials are running while he's on TV.
Oh, yeah.
While she's over here, nobody has any clue what she's doing, but she might be the better athlete.
Yeah.
So we can't win this one.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you give everybody the same amount. Football, you think you got 60,000 fans in here.
But not every college can do that.
$100 tickets. $100 tickets.
Not every college can do it.
Not every college can do it. But I mean, you set up a pay structure for it and then give these kids something to go out into the world with. I guarantee you a lot of them, that, especially ones that like, dang, I'm borderline going to NFL, I'm borderline going to NBA, you'll start seeing college sports be a lot better instead of them being one and dones or the one the Heisman Trophy now about to go. If you put like a little, I say put like a siphon. I mean, I know they're getting a free college education.
Yeah.
But think about how much money Tim Tebow made at the University of Florida. His jersey is still the #1 selling jersey at the University of Florida.
But he didn't get paid.
He didn't get paid at all. I mean, but then you say you go back and then you pay these guys. If so, Tim Tebow is probably a billionaire.
No, somebody twisted something this morning on Twitter saying that, look, what you just said, look how much money Tim made as a Florida Gator. Like, whoa. Tim didn't make any money. He made it after he left, when he graduated.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't write that he made it as a Florida Gator. No, he's still making money on his Florida Gator success. So let's type that the correct way.
Exactly.
Exactly. But again, it's hard to make good examples when you have personalities like him who seemingly on the outside, I say seemingly because you never truly know somebody that's a celebrity, but he really appears that he's doing everything the right way, making the right choices. He's making his money off his celebrity, and he earned it.
Yeah.
He went out there and he sacrificed for his university, and that's why he's so passionate about it. That's the most angry I had seen Tim since some of his locker room pregame speeches, or after that loss to Ole Miss when he said, "You're never going to see somebody play as hard as me. You're never going to." All this, he really feels like, look, did you see what I did at Florida?
Oh, yeah.
Were you paying attention? I took all the hits.
Yeah.
I put my head in there. I bled for this school. That was my dream school. I didn't get paid anything, and I didn't want anything. He said, I wouldn't have wanted $1 from you. And I believe him when he says that. But in the world that we live in right now, if somebody throws something out there, it gets momentum, and then if you speak out against it, you're the enemy.
Exactly.
So the hero of many, all of a sudden, is an enemy of the trend.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah. I mean, and sadly, that's how it goes. But like I said, one of my biggest arguments right now is we gotta stop taking things like, okay, we'll decide to be offended about this, but we'll let that slide.
Exactly, which is lack of accountability.
Yeah, I mean, and it's strong in the NFL because you think about it. Adrian Peterson whooped his son.
Yeah,
he was suspended. I mean, put on the commissioner's exempt list. Antonio Brown's playing football tomorrow night.
Right.
So what do we choose to be offended about? Adrian Peterson always played the game right. Did what he did. I mean, listen, we've all spanked our kids. I know I spanked mine. A lot of people spank their kids. Some people don't.
Right.
But I've had a couple welts on my leg. It never killed me.
Right.
You cannot tell me this man doesn't love his son. But he was put on the commissioner's exempt list, couldn't play football, then suspended some games, then fined. And Antonio Brown, and I understand the situation is kind of a little tricky, but you have an accusation against you. Everybody said he's going to be on the commissioner's list. No, because this is going to make money for the NFL. Antonio Brown is playing football.
Oh, absolutely.
And we take a lot of guys that are bad characters and we allow them to play football. Dallas Cowboys will take guys that beat women all the time, all day long, put them on, and Jerry tries his best to change them. He even gets them their own personal security that follows them around like a little kid 24 hours a day to make sure they don't act up. And these are the guys that we accept. And if you have other guys that are doing other things, we don't accept these guys. We push them out.
Yeah, the NFL has a serious problem with its arbitrary discipline.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you're not so hot right now, so we're going to go ahead and sit you out. Yeah, the Adrian Peterson thing, I think unfortunately in that situation, it was a watershed moment where the NFL said, okay, we got to pick a side here because this is child abuse.
Yeah.
And all of us who are parents were always advocates for the kids.
Yeah.
But who gets to say that what he as a father was doing was child abuse?
Yeah. I mean,
and you're going to publish pictures out there where, look, a whooping's a whooping.
Yeah.
Now, did he take it too far? We don't know. We weren't there.
No.
We weren't there.
No.
We don't know what was in Adrian Peterson's heart when he did that. We don't know his situation. And then you escalated to video of, oh my gosh, now his name's escaping me, a running back for the Ravens.
Right. Ray Rice?
Ray Rice, good job. Yeah, Ray Rice. Great talent, but he's gone.
That video was horrible.
He's gone, yeah, because the elevator video came out where he whooped the junk out of his fiance.
That video was horrible.
And everybody saw it.
Yeah. He
has been the one guy that's been ostracized.
Yeah.
And I can't say, and he should have. He should have.
Yeah. I mean, he apologized. I believe he was sincere. Him and his wife, they got married after that, and she said he never had it. She tried her hardest for him.
Yeah.
And now his career is on a different path. He goes around and just speaks and still donates money to his old high school and college. And I think that's what his life has basically become now. But it showed a lot of athletes, you don't put your hands on a woman. I'm watching some stuff going on right now. I can't speak about it, but I mean, I just watch it. I tell parents all the time, you got a son, teach your son not to hit a woman, not to hit a girl. I don't care what the situation is, go tell somebody. Physically, we are a lot stronger than women are. But don't ever just put your hands on a woman. I mean, and I understand girls do crazy. You got to teach your daughter the same thing. But I've seen situations where guys will just haul off, hit a girl quickly, just not even thinking about it. She hit me.
Right.
And I mean, that's the type of warped thinking that a lot of our kids have, and it's sad. They don't respect life.
Well, we don't want girls hitting guys either. And you and I have talked about that too, where it's darn near almost as bad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not like well, since you're a guy, you can't hit a girl. Well, the girl shouldn't be hitting the guy. Nobody should be hitting anybody. Let's just stop it.
Exactly.
You know, it's childish. And I saw it outside of a football game a few weeks ago, just walking back to the car.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a girl just haul back, and I heard the smack from 5 feet away. And I saw the dude, and I'm like, dang, man, if I was that dude right now, I'd be considering going back at her because she was a big girl.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, right in the arm, and he didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the kind of mentality that's being fostered is, well, since I'm the girl, I got all the power.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Jesus.
It's again, the word arbitrary, we as a society say, oh, you can't do that, but you can, and you just did the same thing, so I'm going to pick your side.
Oh, yeah. Listen, the most interesting thing I watched yesterday was the parents that were getting their kids into college that was doing payoffs. The teacher the lady got, what's the actress name? She got 14 days in jail.
Oh, for USC, that whole thing? Yeah, 2 weeks. That's great.
Come on, man.
That's great. Yeah, come on, man. Like the whole thing I did on ESPN. Come on, man. Yeah.
14 days.
That
14
teaches a lesson,
I'm
right?
telling you, we decide as a society about what we will be offended about today.
Well, it goes back to elitism too.
Yeah.
And well, you had the money to do this in the first place. Well, and you have the money to get out of it.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
And so that's where this word accountability that we've been talking about today, it weaves like a vine, and it goes in so many different directions. And again, I like using examples of our kids on here when we can to humanize it. And this was another thing that I heard in the car the other day, where most of the things that I do in my life now stem from after school discussions. Mm-hmm. They really are valuable. Parents out there, please, if you don't do it already, start asking your kids about their day, because they do want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. They don't just want to talk about their grades. They don't just want to talk about if there's a dance coming up. No. They really want to tell you about who they are, so please ask. So as a part of that, I got one of mine he's a cut up, and he comes by that honestly. I was a class clown. I made no bones about it. The difference is I got away with it.
Yeah.
I got away with it because I was a charmer. Yeah. I got the grades in the class, and I probably shouldn't have gotten away with it, but I did. So my son is emulating me, which, is kind of fun to watch. You're like, oh, he wants to be like me. Mm-hmm. But he's getting caught. He's, getting his planner written in and things like that. And he started to blame a teacher. Yeah. And I said, whoa. I said, stop. I said, look. I said, dude, I feel bad for you in this way, because not only am I your dad, but I also was a teacher. Exactly. I see both sides, brother. You ain't going to get away on this one.
Exactly.
I said, don't you go blaming that teacher, not for 1 second. I said, let's talk about guilty by association. Let's do that for a second. And we talked about that. And I gave him my story about a guy I used to play ball with. We were like brothers. Mm-hmm. And I think I've told you this, where we'd ride around in this truck. Well, it started smelling like weed all the time. I'm like, dude, I can't hang with you anymore, because if we get pulled over, I'm going to get popped with you. Exactly. And I've never done this. Exactly. I said, dude, I said, son, it's the same thing. He said, but Dad, I didn't do anything today. I said, let's just say hypothetically you're telling me the truth. Let's just say I actually believe you, that you tried to get away from this kid who was cutting up. I said, you know what? Okay, I'll give you that. But you have a reputation for doing what he did.
Exactly.
Teacher looks up after she hears, because y'all don't realize sound travels. Mm-hmm. She looks up and thinks, oh, you're messing up again. Mm-hmm. I said, so even if you didn't do anything, you're going to get popped, because you're in the situation because you got a rep.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah. My daughter she was guilty of that last year. And we told her, we was like, hey, you got some friends you shouldn't be kicking it with. You're guilty by association. Exactly. So every time you get in trouble, hey, but she already knows. The teacher called my house. It's like it was when I was growing up. You did it.
Yeah.
I'm not finna sit here and argue and you be like, well, no, they hate. No, you did it.
You did it.
The first off, they called my house. So we gonna have a discussion.
Yeah.
And it was something there. And by the time you figure this, we're gonna get it right.
That's what I said. I said, do you
think
teachers want to take time out of their day to email me, just to email me? No, you did something. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, And again, it's like discipline a kid after practice today. I watched a kid after our workouts at Mosley, and he had to do one of those the towel drill, doing a suicide with the towel drill.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
And yeah, it is.
That's tough.
And it's like
old school.
They think that we enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I said to Coach, I was like, it really sucks because a lot of these kids think that we get enjoyment off watching them being disciplined, and we hate it.
Exactly.
It's the least favorite part. It tears us apart inside, but we gotta hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
We got to, because we're not doing our job if we're not, and we're showing everybody else on the team they can screw up.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't call you out, then they're gonna do the same thing.
Exactly. I want to go back to the Miami Dolphins thing. I know
of course.
I know we kind of skipped over that, but and you said it's like unprecedented to see that. And the more I think about it, it's kind of like what we have going on in high school football right now, or high school basketball, high school sports. Period. When Florida said, "Hey, you can go anywhere you want to go," that's exactly what it is.
It's a free agent society.
You know what? This team sucks, so I'm going to go over here. Or this team is not good. I'm going to go over that way. I'll be at this team. I'll play football here, and I'm going to go over there. There is no loyalty to a system anymore. No. So if I'm on the Miami Dolphin football team, first of all, I'm blessed to play football for the Miami Dolphins. The last thing I'm going to say is I want out of here. I'm going to play football to the best of my ability. Trust God on the rest. And trust my agents and all of that, and allow things to happen. But our kids now, they want to win right now. They don't want to go through it. My biggest speech last night during our loss at football game is, we're going to win with pride. We're also going to lose with pride. Right. A lot of these kids don't know how to lose with pride. Lips poked out, don't want to shake hands, don't want to do anything, which is why I said, I thought last night, like, listen, I need to go back to Little League football so I can help these athletes get it right. Because the first time I see you throw your helmet, snatch away from a coach, or start celebrating doing touchdown, I'm going to stop the game and I'm going to run the life out of you. We've got to teach discipline. Every sport, football, I learned my greatest lessons about life and how I'm supposed to act and how I'm supposed to carry myself. And a lot of guys now are just getting away with things. They're getting by. Yeah. So when they become professional athletes, they're the guy that always got away with things and got by. And they're like, why are they hating on me? They paid me $45 million. I'm the best thing they got. They can't do it without me. It's like David Ruffin in The Temptations. What's David Ruffin without temptation? Y'all are just attempts in search of a David Ruffin. That's right. That's the mentality that they have taken on. And if we don't stop and start nipping it in the bud now, there's young coaches, little league coaches, and that's parents. I'm so sick of parents hyping their kids up to be the best athlete in the world. And you out there and you allow your kid to act like that. Listen, little league football coaches back in the days would take you up under the bleachers and paddle you. Yeah. They would beat your behind for acting up. Matter of fact, mom and dad didn't even go to football practice. They just know that this truck came by, picked all y'all up, and dropped y'all back off at a certain time. Right. And I know we got weirdos now, and you can't do stuff like that, but that's how it went. And we learned all our life lessons there. We don't act up nowhere. And if you go back to some type of corporal punishment for these kids, I guarantee you a lot of them will stop acting up. But they know if the teacher calls mom and dad is going to defend them. Not my baby. No, not my kid is great. My kid is wonderful. And then you show them the video of them smoking pot or doing whatever they're doing, and they're on the floor. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Say, well, how'd they get that?
Yeah. All right. It was such and such kid, not my kid. Right. Like, nobody wants to take responsibility for their kids' actions nowadays. And it's always somebody else's fault. And then that's why the mental disorders get such a bad rep. Because everybody hollers, oh, it's some type of mental disease. He's got something going on. Or he has ADHD or ADD. Listen, I had all of that when I was a kid. I was never diagnosed with it. But I realized that my grandmother's hand was stronger than any medicine that I could be on. And I did not want any problems of it. So if these parents start getting in their kids behind like they should and stop being parents that he's constantly at work, she's constantly at work, kid comes home, nobody's there. Listen, I understand we gotta work. Don't get me wrong. But at what point do you say, I need to parent my kid? I need to start being a parent and stop waiting on Coach Ty or Coach Ford to say, hey, I need you to talk to my kid. And I have no problem with it at all.
Sure.
But if I give them something to do, or if I give them a life lesson, I'm teaching them something, and if you don't reiterate what I said or reinforce the things that I told them to do, we're just using the bathroom in the wind.
Well,
it's crazy.
Well, what is discouraging to me is the same example that I used earlier of the kid doing the towel drill, but it manifested itself because something didn't go right in the home.
Yep.
And the coach was asked to take care of it. And is that fair? You know, is that fair?
No.
That's where my concern is, because we're trending that way, where the parents are saying, I've lost the ability to get to my kids, so the teachers and the coaches are going to have to take care of it now. It used to be the exact opposite. It used to be where the kid was, if he was messing up in practice, then the coach would go tell the parent and knew and trusted that the parent would take care of it at home. So it was getting positive reinforcement. It was the coach said it and the mom or dad said it, and so we're going to stop it.
Exactly.
And usually it would stop.
Oh yeah.
But we grew away from that somehow, and I don't know what happened. The other point that we need to bring up before we get out of here is the transfer portal in Division I football.
Oh man.
Transfer portal, to me, at first, I was like, wow, that's good for the guy who found himself by no fault of his own in a situation where he's been waiting his turn. He's been the one showing up to practice, getting his grades, but a guy with more talent came in and bumped him back.
Yeah.
And now he's waiting behind that fabulous freshman.
Yeah.
And then a sophomore comes in, transfer. Now he's bumped back on third string. So now it gives that dude a chance to go to a different school and make a name.
Yeah.
That's what it was designed to do.
Yeah.
And now you've got two former Georgia quarterbacks who got in the transfer portal, and one is a starting quarterback for Ohio State, and the other one's starting quarterback for University of Washington.
Yeah.
And they're making it big.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got a guy named unheard, who played at Alabama.
Who's going to win the Heisman this year?
Probably, because Oklahoma's the Heisman machine.
Good grief.
So because of these three examples, kids are going to say, and that reinforces everything that we've been talking about that is bad, is, oh, well, I don't have to wait my turn now.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in that little cool thing to transfer portals like a time machine and throw me over a different school. Well, now I can do my thing.
Yeah.
Now I can do me.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope, man. It's a really slippery slope.
It's definitely a slippery slope. But I mean, listen, I would want to get out of Georgia football too, you know. Go Gators.
They're good, man. You know they are. You know they're coming for you too.
They're definitely coming for us. But again, it's not doing what it's designed to do. The same thing as the high school transfer rule. It's not doing what it was designed to do. It was basically designed to say, you know what, I really want my kid to be over here at this school. I think this school is better. Let me take them over there even though I'm out of zone. But what's happening is a lot of kids say, well, I'm going to transfer to this school after that to go for sports. I'm going to go to this school for that sport. I'm going to go to the school for that sport. And in Panama City, Florida, we have too many high schools.
Yeah, we talked about that.
We have
the big
way too many high schools. So therefore, the talent level of kids is like, you got a few over here, you got a few over there, you got a few here,
it's terrible.
You got a few, and see what happened is we have these hire committees who choose that football coach or that coach. It needs to be a whole different system, because the right person is not getting chosen a lot of time for those jobs. And it goes back to, well, I know somebody that knows somebody that knows this person that got me in, and then we have the same thing going on at the school. You take Jeremy Brown. I love Coach Brown over at Mosley. Coach Brown is a local guy. He's been around everywhere. But when you talk to Jeremy Brown, you know without a shadow of a doubt, his heart is for these kids.
Right.
If you're a kid and you got a problem with Coach Brown, I think you got to really look yourself in the mirror and check yourself, because he's gonna care. He cares about you extremely. If he doesn't say anything to you, it's just like any other coach. But it goes back to that. These hiring committees got to start thinking about the community as a whole when you're hiring people, and start picking the right guys for the right positions. Sure, he has an amazing resume from wherever he's from.
Right.
But will he come to Panama City, get deeply rooted with the community, and learn these kids. Will he go to a little league game to watch those kids and do those things? And when you start taking a coach who says, you know what, let me go to the little league game, start meeting these kids now, start watching them as they come up, then they're going to want to play for me. But nobody wants to go play for a coach they don't know, never heard of, or don't see out in the community. These guys have really got to start getting a strong hold on these communities. And like they see me, they was like, man, why are you so successful wherever you go? Why do all the kids gravitate to you? Because I'm out there in their face every day. I'm in the community. I'm going to have sidebar conversations with them. Son, you really need to get this together. You need to do that. So if I'm telling you as a person, hey, this is how you get your life together. You need to do this. Stop acting that way. It needs to be reinforced with these coaches. A lot of these coaches are scared to discipline or yell at the kids because for fear of them leaving, because now they have the option to hop in the transfer portal of high school and go wherever they want to go.
Well, fear is controlling us as a society and the people anyway.
Exactly.
We have fear everywhere, fear mongers. We have people that's putting it out there. And yeah, because of the fear, because of possibly saying something that might be offensive, because there are the ears now, people are looking for something to be offended about. They're listening. Oh, you might say something that's going to upset me. God forbid, you know. But that's just where we are, you know.
And I mean, and there's no disrespect to any of the coaches down here. I mean, I like what Coach Tillman is doing at Rutherford. Coach Tillman loves those kids. North Bay Haven, Coach Siegel got him another win last night.
Yeah, 2 wins.
So listen, I'm proud of those guys. But we've got to find guys that are going to impact this community. A powerful coach. You take and not even a me. You take a Willie Spears. You put Willie Spears in a position down here as a football coach. It will be life-changing for the community. You put him at any high school, you tell the rest of the high schools, hold your mule, because it's about to be a long run right here. Because kids gravitate to him. They want to be where he is. He's going to teach them life lessons. I think me and Willie we're like two of the only coaches I know that probably have walked kids through the center prayer being a football coach. Because we truly care about these young men going to the next level. If you don't go to the next level to play football, you're at least going to be in college.
Right.
You're at least going to be doing something great. You're going to be a great member of society. And we got to go back to that and stop just saying, this is just my athlete only basketball season, football season, track season. As a high school coach, you've got to check year round and be in the know. I'm telling you, I'm a nosy parent. There's nothing that my kids have that I'm not going to go in.
You got it.
I mean, listen, I'll go to your school, open your locker, and I want to see what's up in there. I mean, I'm serious. Like,
no, I know you are. I know you are.
You have nothing to worry about with me as a dad, but I'm going to check. I'm just not going to, well, my kid is great and wonderful. No, because I wasn't great and wonderful. I'm still not great and wonderful. I mess up every day. I have faults every day. And I know they're not going to be perfect. But the thing is, you let them sneak for so long, constantly keep getting away with it, that's how they're going to be in life.
Well, that takes everything full circle. We've been talking about the whole time being accountable. I think the best example that we can give is to show our kids that we are just regular people.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and as coaches in the community, some of these people let it get in their head that, ooh, I'm a coach, so I can get away with different things. I'm a coach of this school, or I'm a coach of that school. No, you're just a regular dude.
Yeah.
You're a regular person, and I'm very transparent with my kids, probably to a fault sometimes, where
I'm definitely transparent.
yeah, it's like, but I embrace that because it makes life easier if I'm not putting on an act. You know, if I'm the same person in the classroom, on the basketball court, on the football field, on this podcast, if I'm the same person all the time, every day, then I don't need to figure out what character Dave from this category was, so I can. It's like telling a lie.
Exactly.
As soon as you tell that lie, you got to figure out a lie to go with that. Yeah, alternate universe, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. Before we get out of this, I wanted to talk about the public speaking engagement that we need to do, because we got to get the word out about that.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, Antonio Brown or Cam. I think we squeezed him.
Yeah, he's enraged me enough today.
I think we squeezed him pretty hard.
I gotta go pray in my closet.
He's got to do a lot more than you.
He's gonna be playing football tomorrow night, though.
Yeah, he will, and he'll probably ball out, and he'll do great. Or somebody on the Dolphins may say, you know what, let's make an example, because that's how they used to handle it in football locker rooms. Let's take him out. I'm not saying I'm for that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he is a target. If he wasn't already,
Yeah.
he's got a big bullseye on his back.
Oh yeah. Well, first off, he's a Patriot now.
Well,
I promise you, like the whole NFL hates the Patriots
because they're so great.
I went to a All-Star game. I know we gotta get out of here.
Go ahead.
I went to the All-Star football game in Orlando, and they got the name of all the players from every team. I promise you, everybody was screaming left and right every time they called a player. They called out a Patriot, everybody booed and just bust out laughing. They're like, boo! The NFL fans hate the Patriots.
Oh, I know.
They hate them. I think the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys probably run neck and neck when it comes to like fans. Like we're just on a whole other level. They say Steelers fans travels better than the home team because we took over Jacksonville. That was great.
Well, that's easy to do, dude. Jacksonville fans, they don't come out.
Oh man,
they don't come out.
But listen, what would it be tomorrow night if the Miami? When is it tomorrow night?
Yeah,
the Miami Dolphins.
They beat them last year.
What the Miami Dolphins beat the Patriots?
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Where
what if they beat them?
Caught the pass, dipped the hook and ladder?
Yeah. What if they beat the Patriots? I mean, come on, man.
I think people would go.
Yeah. What if Antonio Brown tomorrow lays an egg?
I think, let's say this, the chances of him laying an egg are better than the Patriots losing. Let's say that.
Yeah.
If the Patriots lose, then I'm worried about the apocalypse is upon us.
If they lose, they're gonna get rid of Antonio Brown because they was a Super Bowl team last time we seen them play.
Yeah.
They beat the living breaks off my Steelers.
They killed y'all, man.
Yeah, listen, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
they were embarrassing. And
I said that they were great without him.
Yeah.
So what are you really adding to the locker room, or are you taking?
Yeah.
He walks in the locker room, the receivers are like, one of them's like, I just lost my job.
Yeah.
And I've been here in camp. I've been here lifting weights. And this joker comes out, after all he's done, can't even get a helmet to fit his big head.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, he comes in, Julian Edelman is going to lead the league in probably receiving. Because he's going to require
I think Edelman and him are going to argue a lot.
Yeah.
They're both the same size.
Yeah. But I mean, I believe this will be Edelman is one of his best years. He's going to put up historic numbers.
Oh, his juice is going to go up.
Because Antonio Brown is going to require a double team every time. Juju saw like, dang, I'm the number one guy now. So they wouldn't even double team in Juju. They was like, oh, we're not going to even respect that.
Yeah.
We're just going to beat the brakes off of y'all, run it down your throat. And that's exactly what they did. So I hope my Steelers get it together because right now I'm stressed out. I'm having anxiety about them.
Stop it.
Did you see the Tennessee fan today? They got through out the stadium?
No.
He came there with a bag on his head.
Oh my gosh. How are you going to throw a guy out of the stadium for that? He paid for his ticket. That's what they used to do with the Bucks back in the day. They called us the Yucks.
Yeah, put a bag over our head.
People are worried about too many things. They should be lucky somebody's even in Neyland Stadium watching the game right now. I mean, come on now. Leave the fans alone. Just let them come in, let them watch the game. I mean, yeah, they destroyed Chattanooga today, but they should have been doing that anyway.
Oh,
I mean, you let Georgia State come in your house and beat you.
I know.
I mean, come on now. We can kill people all day long with these teams, but
yeah, Florida State. When the time they play Virginia? Are they playing right now?
oh, you're right. That is
I'm not online.
That's another loss.
Yeah, I'm not online. Listen, I can't.
That's another loss.
Listen, it's gonna be my joy today to terrorize Florida State fans. Listen, y'all beat us up for 10 years. Talked so bad about the Gators. Talked about that one game we had 2 points. But it's like they can dish it, but they sure can't take it.
Well, Willie Taggart's, he's out there, dude. He ain't gonna make it.
I wanted him to be successful so bad. And it's not a black or white thing, but as a black man, we don't ever get those type of jobs. It's hard to get a job. Like Florida has never had African American.
And he's had some good ones.
He's had some great jobs. And for him to go out now and just lay an egg, like, listen, I would have fired. That's the first game, my offensive coordinator would have been fired, my defensive coordinator would have been fired. Because there's no way you guys go out, do what you did in that first half, and then come back and just drop a goose egg. And a team that's not from Florida can take the heat better than you can?
Yeah. Well, I was a big fan of Willie because he did coach my USF Bulls, and he did get us back on a successful manner.
Oh, yeah.
So I was a proponent for him for, I think he was there for 2 or 3 years. And then he left to go to Oregon, and he had a pretty decent season there. I think they were 3 games over 500.
Yeah.
And then Florida State job came open, and I was worried as soon as that happened.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times your dream job may not be for you at that
Should
particular
have
time.
stayed in the Pac-12, man.
Because listen, Jimbo, he's seen the writing on the wall. Like, there's nobody left here.
Right.
I need to get out right now. Urban Meyer, seen the writing on the wall at University of Florida. There's nobody here at the Tim Tebow. Cam is gone. I'm about to leave. I'm a fake a heart attack and go to Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story, Urban crying.
And then he went to Ohio State and got a championship there too. He's just a great coach, though.
But listen, all jokes aside, Florida State, y'all lose today, we're kicking y'all out of the state of Florida.
Oh, they'll come back. All these state schools, I told them that. I said there's 2 state schools in Florida right now. It's the Gators and UCF.
Yeah.
And everybody else is behind them.
Oh yeah.
And UCF, come on, UCF head to head right now would whoop y'all.
Probably.
Come on, be truthful.
Probably so.
By 2 touchdowns, they whoop y'all right now.
2 touchdowns?
Dude, I bet money on it. I would. I'd put 50 on it. That they would whoop y'all by 2 touchdowns.
We about to start playing UCF, aren't we?
The Gators?
I think so.
No, you're playing my school. And you're going to have a field day with that.
I don't know. Charlie Strong might want some revenge. But he's probably going to be another coach.
Thank God they don't play till 2023 because we need that long.
Yeah, Charlie Strong.
We need 4 years to get better. We're terrible. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm telling you right now, Florida State, y'all lose today, we're gonna put y'all gonna be considered a high school. We're gonna take the Florida State high school we got right now, and y'all gonna take their place, and they're gonna take y'all.
If they do lose today, Willie better go ahead and get another house.
Oh, Willie better start looking. We better start looking.
Because the for sale signs are going to be in his front yard.
Listen, he can come to the University of Florida. We'll take you as a defensive coordinator.
He's going to be looking for a job in Bay County.
Continue to bring Vanilla Ice and all of those guys. We'll have a good show for spring, you know.
Stop it.
Go Gators!
You're killing me. I can't wait to have a good year like you're having right now. You're 2-0, and we'll see what happens tonight with Kentucky because y'all better tighten your pants up tonight.
Kentucky's quarterback went down last week, so they got their backup in. So they had a running quarterback. He got injured. I think he tore his ACL last week or blew his knee out. So a new quarterback they got, and he's a pocket passer, and he's going to see speed like you never seen before.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's going to be interesting.
Your defense is great.
Yeah.
Your defensive linemen are absolutely going to be pro players, probably across the board. But your boy at quarterback, man, I'm telling you, we talked about him a few weeks ago, and you called it the turnovers. Yeah. Something's not right with him. He doesn't like pressure. Yeah. I don't see him making it in the NFL.
No, listen, I tried to buy him a ticket back to Waco. Just won't let me do it. I mean, listen, give me anybody right now at quarterback other than him. I'm sick.
He's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah, he's got all the talent in the world around him.
He's a head case.
But yeah, he's another one. But I'm telling you, it's something that's off with that young generation. He's been that good for so long, and now he's in the spotlight. He wants the spotlight to be on him, and it's kind of like LeBron James. When LeBron James wanted to be the evil guy,
right?
Because everybody was mad because he went to Miami.
Right.
He took on that character of the heel. It's not his character.
No.
And I think that's the same thing that's going on with Felipe. He's all out of character. He's all out of whack because everybody dissed him and talked about him. So now he's got to play with a chip on his shoulder. And he just needs to learn how to play football.
He comes off as a chump doing that.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, you're 6'8" or whatever.
He's 6'5", dude.
Whatever, man. You got these light green eyes. You're a pretty boy, man. Just chill. Play football.
Stand back there and throw touchdowns. That's all you got to do.
Listen, we're not asking you to be Tebow. I'm just asking you not to throw an interception on 3rd and short to a Miami defender.
Okay, we got to hype this for real. Let's do this. So we talked about this a few weeks ago. We said for the first time that we are building what we're trying to make a one-night only public speaking event. We want to get as many kids from Bay County in one venue at one time.
Yeah.
So guys out there locally, we need your help. We need people talking for us, trying to find us a venue, the biggest one that we can find. The two that come to mind obviously are Mosley's Auditorium, the amphitheater that was just built, and also Rutherford Gym. Those are the two biggest venues that I know of in Bay County. We need your help getting there. I'm going to tell you why. And Ty's going to back me up on this too. We both have personal stories. We also have stories that we've seen kids go through. The statistics are rising not only in Bay County, but in high schools across the country where we're losing kids to drugs and alcohol at an alarming rate. We're losing them to cutting. We are losing them to suicide. We are losing our kids, period.
Yeah.
And the focus of what we're going to talk about on that night, we're going to be walking around with a mic in your hand and a mic in my hand. This is going to be not a podcast night. This is going to be us, but it is going to be real. We are going to be the realest that we possibly can. You're going to see a different side of us that night where we're kind of coaching. Okay, we're coaching, but we're also being dads. And it's like this. What kind of decisions are your kids making outside of school? What kind of decisions are they making after that game when they just won by 10 points on a Friday night? Are they having to change their personality? Are they thinking they got to pick up a beer, or they got to get a blunt, or God forbid that they're picking up something worse than that because somebody said, hey man, look, you're big time. Try this with me. What are they doing when you don't see them? Are they thinking that they aren't enough? That's a very heavy question to ask. And a lot of times, if you talk to drug addicts or people who are recovering, they will say they didn't think that they were enough.
Exactly.
And it's going to be a night where we are going to try to get people to admit that there's a problem. And again, we're not licensed professionals. We're trying to start the conversation. If they haven't told mom and dad, if they've been too scared, and I don't blame them, tell mom and dad and say, look, Coach Ty and Coach Ford, they said what I needed to hear, and they gave me the power, and I want to take my life back. Talk about that for a second.
I really believe those kids in a format just like that. And it's basically, you talk to them, bring your problems to me. Tell us what your problem is. Sometimes there's so much power in just talking about it. I cannot tell you our show that we had when we talked about domestic violence, how much power I felt just releasing and telling my story. Something came over me that day. I was able to release what had been bothering me for 30 plus years that I've never talked about, never spoke about. And they get that type of stuff off you, it does something to your mind. It's like, man, I released it. I let it go. But the more you hold it in, the more you think about it, you're like, oh, that's my secret. And it affects the way of our kids' life in so many ways. They're depressed all the time. They just don't feel good about themselves because there's something that they're holding on to. And we got to do a better job as parents, as mentors, and as coaches, as just identifying those things and not forcing them to talking about it, but making them comfortable enough to talk about it. I told you that one issue I had with a girl that was being touched in her classroom, and she came and told me versus telling her teacher, who was a female, and her teacher had a problem. She was like, why would she come to you as a male and not come to me as a woman?
Right.
And then so when we all got in a meeting together, the first thing she said to the girl was, what did you do to make him touch you? And I said, that right there is the reason why she didn't tell you, or she didn't feel comfortable talking to you. So we want to create an environment that's comfortable for our kids to talk about. And I'm quite sure we'll probably hang out all night talking to kids after the show and listening to all types of stories, but we definitely want to give them a venue that's all about them, and even ask questions about just stuff they want to talk about. I think it's very important in this day and age, and then we all can get back together as people.
I think it would be amazing if we spent a whole show talking about that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Just to let people know this is going to be the lay of the land, and we have more than enough things, more than enough situations, both personal and indirectly, that we can talk about. Because it needs to be, dude. It really is. It's becoming more and more important as the days go by. The mental health aspect is a scary thing around here, and I made that post the other day about that we were 4 weeks out from the anniversary of Hurricane Michael, and how mental health in Bay County is rapidly it's so bad, guys. It's so bad. It's not going in the right direction. Where we have 125 kids who have been Baker acted here. 125. That's on a pace. We're going to be about 180 by the end of the calendar year. Okay. And speaking of Hurricane Michael, we're 3 weeks out. So I'm pretty sure what we're going to be talking about that day is I'm going to be asking you, how are you doing? You're going to ask me how I'm doing. And I'm again being transparent, how regular guys that we really are. I haven't had some good days lately, and I have been a different person since the storm hit. I have suffered, along with everybody else, a traumatic event. I've done a lot of research. Why do I feel like this? Why am I feeling where I don't have control and I just don't want to do anything? Okay, so we want people to know that we're not superheroes. We want people to know that we are a source for young people to come to. That's like we did in our classrooms. Come talk to me, come talk to us, send us a message on Facebook. Anytime, we'll be happy to offer some sort of, if you want us to pray with you, we'll do that.
Yeah.
If you want us to give you some kind of a cool quote maybe to look at to help you. Guys, that's what this is about.
Oh, yeah.
This is your show. It's not about us. And so as we get up to that anniversary, think about things. Where are you now as opposed to you were then? How have you been affected? And I think that's going to be a tough show to get through. I think it's going to be very emotional.
Definitely. I thought I was all right the other day. I was riding down 23rd Street and I was like, oh, it's starting to look like Panama City again. I was like, all the lights and everything are up. And then you see a building that's just completely flat. And metal wrapped around poles. And I'm like, man, it just depresses you.
It is. It's tough. It's an environment that we literally cannot escape.
Oh, yeah.
It's all around us. And
definitely.
That's a big story I'm working for. Man, I can't wait for you to see that when I'm done, dude. I cannot wait. Doing a story for the Air Force and talking about suicide prevention with that and the extraordinary situation that Tyndall Air Force has. Tyndall Air Force Base has here. Being in the military is already stressful.
Yeah.
Being a family member of someone in the military is stressful. Then you add on top of it what took place here. So I do take mental health very, very seriously, more than I ever have.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be something that reoccurs on our show because we deal with kids.
Yeah.
And this generation of kids right now is under siege. For the first time in U.S. history, our kids are off the charts with anxiety, with suicide. We're losing kids between the age of 10 and 34 is the second leading cause of death in America.
Oh, yeah.
That's a problem. And we desperately want to be a part of the solution. So please, if you can, talk to anybody in the area who's a leader who can get us in a venue. We will do whatever it takes, any kind of fundraising it takes to get there, to make these kids feel comfortable just for one night if we can, to let them know they have a voice, they're not alone, they don't need to be quiet, and they don't need to be suffering. There's a great life out there to be had, and there's no pain worth thinking that you're not enough. Wow, I just got through that and almost lost it. So, you got anything else, man?
I just want to leave you with this quote. A coach will impact more young people in a year than the average person does in a lifetime.
Truth.
Said by Billy Graham.
Truth.
So that shows how important a coach is in a kid's life. And I had a situation one time when I was in church and they really wanted me to be more in church. And I was like, listen, I'm reaching more young people out here than I am in this four walls.
Yeah.
And they really didn't understand it. But a coach will reach more kids in a year than the average person will in a lifetime.
Very true.
So children are our passion. That's my driving force every day, making sure our kids are great, are doing all right. And I just wish I had a me when I was their age. I wish I had a person.
That's okay, because you're here now.
Yeah.
You know?
So I knew what I needed when I was a kid, and I said every day I try to be that person. So they always like, why you doing all this? Why you doing all that? Because somebody out there needs me. And a lot of times I sacrifice myself. I sacrifice family. I sacrifice a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I want all these kids to know that I'm there for them. And I think this will be an amazing event for them. So hopefully we can get some people to sponsor it. Want to have giveaways for the kids. If anybody want to do like a clothing giveaway or something at that particular time, because so many kids in Bay County right now are without. So many homeless kids right now are without. And I'm praying that these high schools recognize those kids are homeless, especially if you're a senior and you don't stay with mom or dad, you're staying with somebody else, whether that be a relative or whatever. You definitely need to check. There's a law out there for you. It's like a McKeevan letter. I think I pronounced that right. Your first year of college is free. first year of college is free because you are considered a homeless high school student. You need to really check into that. And if any of those young people, I definitely want to talk to them about college at night. That's what I do. That's my job. Every day is to get younger people into higher education. So this night can be special. And that,
some kids just need a hug. Some kids just need for us to tell them that everything's going to be okay.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it really is that simple. And if we can do that to save some lives and to switch the track from going this way to going this way, where it's knowing that there's going to be a tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
That's really, really important. And I really hope that we can do that. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it was a calling that I called you first thing in the morning on that Friday. I'm like, dude, we have to do this.
Yeah.
It's not an option. We have to do this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, it was a great one today, dude.
Yeah, real good.
It was a great one today.
Real good.
I hope everybody enjoyed it, and please keep giving us your feedback throughout the week. Again, we love where the show is going. If you have any ideas, any thoughts, let us know. We're always happy to chime back and try to make things cool and interesting. Enjoy the college football. Enjoy NFL tomorrow.
Go Gators.
And stop it with your Gators and your propaganda. Go USF.
All right, go USF. Go Gators.
All right, everybody. Hey, this has been the J.O.B. podcast for Ty Steele. I'm Dave Ford. Peace. God bless. Be safe. Thank you, everybody.
Go Gators.